Now the city was already a graveyard. Smoke did not rise. It hung heavy and low, pressed down by the freezing air. Rubble that used to be a tractor factory spilled into streets that used to be neighborhoods. In the middle of this gray hell, nothing moved. Movement meant death. A stray dog trotted across a pile of broken bricks. A crack echoed. The dog didn't even yelp. It just dropped. 500 yards away, beneath a sheet of rusted iron, a pair of eyes blinked. Just once. He didn't enjoy killing the animal, but he had to test the wind. If you enjoy history told like a thriller, take a second to subscribe. It helps us dig up more stories from the ashes. It was October 1942, Stalingrad. This wasn't just a battle. It was a meat grinder. The Germans controlled the sky and the ground. The Soviet army was clinging to the banks of the Volga River by their fingernails. Average life expectancy for a new soldier in this city was 24 hours. But Vasily Zaitsev was not average. He was a shepherd from the Urals. He grew up hunting wolves in the snow. He learned to freeze his body until his heartbeat slowed down. Now he was hunting the most dangerous game on Earth. He lay perfectly still in the ruins of a chemical plant. His uniform was covered in plaster dust. He looked like a piece of debris. That was the point. Inside his mind, everything was quiet. The roar of artillery was just background noise, like thunder in the mountains. He focused on a single window frame in a building 3 blocks away. A shadow had moved there 10 minutes ago. Just a shadow. But shadows don't move against the sun. He wrote in his diary about this patience. You watch a point. It seems ordinary. But then you see a helmet profile. He is reckless. He looks out. You don't shoot. You wait. The smell of the city was distinct. It smelled of wet ash, cordite, and rotting garbage. His mouth was dry. He hadn't drunk water in 6 hours. Beside him, his spotter, Nikolai, shifted his weight. The gravel crunched. It was a tiny sound, like stepping on a dry leaf. But in the silence of the sniper's war, it was a scream. Vasily hissed without turning his head. Don't! Breathe! I see him, Nikolai whispered. The fear in his voice was vibrating. 3rd floor. The officer. Vasily adjusted his scope. The Mosin Nagant rifle was heavy, familiar wood and steel. He saw the German, an officer, smoking a cigarette, careless, too careless. Vasily's finger touched the trigger. It was cold metal. He applied pressure, but he didn't fire. Something was wrong. The officer was standing too openly. Shoot, Nikolai urged. He's leaving. No, Vasily said. Why? Because he wants me to. Vasily pulled the rifle back. Seconds later, a bullet pulverized the brick exactly where Vasily's head had been a moment before. Dust sprayed into their eyes. If he had taken that shot, he would be dead. This was a trap. The Germans knew who he was. They knew the Herr, Zaitsev, was killing their officers one by one. 40 men in 10 days. Morale in the German trenches was collapsing. Soldiers were afraid to lift their heads to eat. They were afraid to go to the latrine. So Berlin sent their own ghost. Intelligence reports said a master sniper had arrived. Major Koenig, the head of the sniper school in Berlin. He was here for one reason: to kill the Herr. Vasily felt a cold sweat on his back. This wasn't hunting anymore. This was a duel. Later that night, back in the safety of a cellar, Vasily cleaned his rifle. The oil smelled sharp and clean. He looked at the men around him. They were exhausted. Their eyes were hollow. They looked at him like he was a wizard or a saint. He wrote about the pressure in his notes. Every morning I check my rifle. It is my only friend. It does not lie. It does not panic. If I miss, it is my fault. If I die, it is my fault. The next 3 days were a nightmare of tension. Vasily and Koenig circled each other. They never saw each other. They only saw the signs. A broken mirror placed to reflect light. A helmet raised on a stick that took a bullet through the center. They were testing each other's reflexes. It was a chess game played with high-velocity lead. On the 4th day, the sun was blinding. Vasily and his friend Kulikov moved into a sector called the Iron Space. It was a flat, open area between two factories. Deadly ground. A sheet of corrugated iron lay against a pile of bricks. It offered a perfect view of the German lines. Vasily knew Koenig was there. He could feel it. "He is under the iron sheet," Vasily whispered. Kulikov looked through the periscope. "I see nothing. He is there. He has been waiting for us since dawn." "How do you know?" "Because it is the best spot. And he is the best." They had to make him shoot. They had to make the German believe he had won. It was the most dangerous gamble of Vasily's life. If the German fired and missed, Vasily would have a fraction of a second to locate the muzzle flash and kill him. If the German fired and didn't miss, well, it wouldn't matter. "Lift the helmet," Vasily ordered. Kulikov slowly raised a helmet on a bayonet. He moved it erratically, like a tired soldier checking the line. Bang! The helmet spun off the stick. A perfect shot. But Koenig didn't move. The German was too smart. He knew the helmet trick. He was waiting for the face. The sun began to set. Shadows stretched long across the broken concrete. The glare on the German scope would be fading. This was the moment. "We have to sell it," Vasily said. "Raise the glove." "The glove? Make him think he hit you. Scream." "If he shoots again, he might hit me for real." "Trust me." Kulikov took a deep breath. He raised his hand slightly above the rubble. A shot rang out. Kulikov screamed. He threw his body backward, thrashing his legs, then went still. Silence returned to the iron space. Vasily watched the sheet of iron. 1 minute passed. 2 minutes. The German sniper thought he had finally killed the Soviet legend. Curiosity is a sniper's worst enemy. Slowly, terrifyingly slowly, a head began to rise from beneath the iron sheet. The German wanted to verify the kill. He lifted his head just 3 inches. Vasily saw the eyes. He saw the realization. But it was too late. Vasily exhaled. His heart beat once. He squeezed the trigger. The rifle kicked against his shoulder. The German head snapped back. The rifle dropped from the dead man's hands. Vasily didn't cheer. He didn't smile. He just lowered his rifle. "Is it done?" Kulikov whispered, opening one eye. "It's done." "Did you get him?" "I got him." They lay there until dark. Moving before nightfall was suicide. When they finally crawled out to check the body, they found the documents. It was him. The duel was over, but the war was not. Vasily Zaitsev didn't stop. By the end of the Battle of Stalingrad, the official count was staggering. 225 confirmed kills. 11 of them were enemy snipers. He turned the ruins of the city into a trap that the Germans could not escape. He started a sniper school right there in the middle of the battle. He taught his students a simple motto: shoot once, check, change position, never be greedy. He was injured by a mortar attack later in the war. He almost lost his sight. Doctors saved his eyes so he could see the victory in Berlin. But he never forgot Stalingrad. He never forgot the dust. He never forgot the weight. In his memoirs, he wrote simply about why he fought. For us, there was no land beyond the Volga. That single sentence explains everything. They fought because they had nowhere left to go. According to official U.S. Army reports studying the battle years later, urban warfare changed forever in those months. Zaitsev proved that one man, with one rifle, could paralyze a battalion. He proved that fear was a weapon heavier than any tank. The rifle he used is still in a museum in Volgograd today. It looks like an old piece of wood and iron. But if you look closely, you can see the scratches. You can see the history. Vasily Zaitsev died an old man, peaceful in his bed. But a part of him never left that factory. A part of him is still waiting, still watching, still hunting in the silence. If you want more forgotten stories of real people who lived through the hell of WWII, subscribe to the channel. We are building an archive of the brave, one video at a time. War creates heroes, but it also creates shadows. Vasily Zaitsev was the one shadow the enemy could never catch.